Hey YouTube, how's it going? We've got a good siege for you today. First though, real quick, want to give a shout out to a couple European YouTubers for helping me pad my defense stats in the inter-server arena. Really appreciate it, guys. You're making me look nice. Thank you. Unfortunately, your assistance was not enough and the global server is going to go 0 and 5. Now, onto the siege. This was a top 4 siege in the global server. 1 versus 1, Say Swag again versus Mythril. This one went quite well for us, if you can tell from the map. So we'll just go into the fights here. Up first, this is the new 4-star defense that Mythril was running against us with the Harmonia Orion Fuki. Taking advantage of both the Harmonia buff with the HP leader skill and the Orion buff. Here, so my thought was, this is like it looks like a single threat defense with Fuki being the only real threat and 2 support monsters. I don't think that's necessarily true. I would assume that the Harmonia is on crit damage because I don't think they'd actually make a single threat defense. But my logic here is I want to first neutralize Orion's RNG. So I have a water tank for the Fuki in my Talc, because Talc's passive lets him tank a Fuki pretty well. And then I bring 2 fire monsters. And that means that no matter who Orion defense breaks, the Fuki's going to hit my tank that I brought for him, because he's not going to target a fire monster, even if it gets defense broken, unless it's a very low HP. As for which fire monsters to bring, I needed lots of healing, and the only fire monster in the game that has lots of healing is Lala. It's kind of a very unique fire monster in that you don't get a lot of healing in the fire element, except for this monster who has a ton of healing in the fire element. And then I bring May, the fire cat, because first I want my fire monsters to be tanky enough to be able to handle getting defense broken and then slammed by a crit damage Harmonia. Harmonia not as threatening as Triana because she's going to be spending more of her turns using her 2 support skills compared to Triana's 1 support skill. But she's still going to do damage when she does skill 1 you, so I wanted tanky monsters, so I have an HP scaling damage dealer in May. It also helps neutralize his threat in Fuki by very quickly destroying his HP. And before I even start talking about what happened in the actual fight, Fuki is fully destroyed and dead. So the team is working as expected there. So we neutralize Fuki's threat first by destroying his HP quickly, and then we just kill him because it's the easiest thing to do. Now we just have to work down the Harmonia. We're going to target the Harmonia first just because we have a fire damage dealer, and it's going to take a lot longer to kill the water monster, so killing the fire monster next. The cool thing about destroying HP is that, like, Harmonia's 3rd skill is never going to be that much of a threat, because whenever we're doing lots of damage, we're also destroying the maximum HP, so the 3rd skill of Harmonia's balancing just isn't going to do much, because when you destroy max HP, Harmonia's 3rd skill, you know, it balances off of the current max HP and not the total max HP, so that red health bar is killing Harmonia as well. So I'm liking Firecat here. I think you kind of need Lala for this, though, is the trick. I tried testing this with Harmonia. I didn't test it very many times. I lost the very first one I tested. I won the next couple. So maybe that first loss is just an anomaly, but I think you kind of want Lala for this, for all those heals and cleanses. Up next, they did also have some towers of MST. So we're hitting Pate here with our Tractor Lulu Windy. Obviously, this is, you know, my most reliable counter to MST. It beats basically every different way you can build this defense. Like, I feel like if you want to ruin like, obviously you can ruin MST to counter whatever, like, one of 5 different offenses, right? But I feel like to counter this one, you have to lose to every other offense, because you have to do decent damage and you have to have destroy runes on probably multiple monsters on the defense if you want a chance at actually beating Tractor Lulu Windy. So, like, I think that you can build MST in a way that it has a chance against this offense, but I think that the build would be so weird with, like, destroy runes on all 3 of your monsters or something, where you would just stop winning against every other offense against MST, right? And we all know that this is not the only offense people are using against MST. What's next? Okay, so this one we have a Dark Panda defense. He's extremely slow. like really, really, really slow if I'm outspeeding him here, which is a bit of a problem for me because I didn't get 5 stacks on my Bulwark turn 1. But turns out we have turn 2 and we're fine. So bit of tension when I outspeed him turn 1 and I have to do a 4-stack Bulwark into a Molong. My Molong is on plus 18% damage dealt on Dark, so that's even with that kind of extra damage on Dark. The Mi Ying passive, the Dark Panda passive, just makes it so very difficult to get through him in one turn. But fortunately, we got through there. You've seen me use Riley with my Molong Bulwark a lot at this point. I really like it. I really like Riley with this, especially since these fire threats are coming out on defenses these days. Riley's a great tank for any fire threat they might have, as well as a big healer. Like I've talked before about how I don't have Amelia, but even if I did have Amelia, I think I'd be using Riley in a lot of these cases because it's very similar to what Amelia does, but also you have like 10 times as much healing as Amelia gives. So I really like the Riley version of this offense. Sure, Amelia is still better against certain defenses. And then maybe I should consider building more Rileys, but I don't know what other Riley offenses I would use right now. I'll have to find them. If they ever nerf Lulu again, I'll just fuse like 3 more Rileys. Just waiting for Riley to die at this point. There we go. Recklessly assault it. What's next? Okay, Nanaken Savannah. They didn't have very many of these defenses, but honestly, they had a lot of defenses that I can't beat with Tractor Lulu Windy, which means that I was looking to jump on the ones that I can beat with Tractor Lulu Windy because, you know, it's I want the win. So when I saw a defense like that MST tower or like this defense, I did jump in there, get my Tractor Lulu Windy reps in, just because you know, why not take a free win? Well, which isn't free. I've said before that I tested this heavily against my guildies, and my win rate was 90%, which is a good win rate. But, you know, that means 1 in 10 times, even I'm going to lose with this offense. So we kill Ken, because Ken seemed the easiest to kill in this one. Never quite sure who I want to kill first. I use Tractor to hit either Nana or Ken, whichever one doesn't already have a debuff on it, because I want to get the 3 hits out of his skill 1. And then I kill whichever one seems to be dying faster. Nothing wrong with killing Ken. That does remove most of their strip. So your immunity gets more value after the Ken's dead. I like it more when I kill Nana first, just because then I don't have to worry about them gaining stacks on their Nana, which is the really scary thing about these defenses. But, you know, if that's not as easy to do as killing Ken, then no sense trying to force it. I'm killing Nana before Savannah, though, because I am more worried about Nana getting stacks, and like before I can kill Savannah fully, if Nana like gets a defense break into getting stacks, then that's a nightmare for me. So I'm usually killing Savannah last when I'm fighting these defenses with this offense. Up next, Molong, Purna, Savannah. I'm just coming in with a Tessarian team. You know, Tessarian Lulu, I've been using that a lot lately. It's just the absolute best way to bruiser a defense, you know, if you're not going to Tractor Lulu Windy it. I think I made a mistake targeting the Purna first there. I should have gone for the Savannah. Let's see how long it takes me to realize it. Because like Purna doesn't have attack buff, and I have a really good tank for Purna. Okay, so I realized it right away and switched targets to Savannah. And then the Purna hits defense broken. Maybe I should have killed the Purna first. I don't know. It's hard to say. Either way, not getting Oblivion there makes it so that I have to kind of awkwardly kill the Savannah, where I'm going to have to dismount it looks like. Yeah, so I'm just going to Oblivion the Purna and dismount Savannah with my Windy damage. And at this point, I am more scared of Purna than Savannah, because Savannah can't defense break my Lulu anymore. And the Purna's a real threat to my Tessarian, because my Tessarian's on water damage reduction, but not fire damage reduction. So I do have to worry about Purna damage at this point, but now I don't, because Purna's dead. Go ahead and finish off that Savannah. Yeah, that was a bit of an awkward fight with switching targets a couple times. Maybe killing Purna is the best, because Purna unloading on a defense broken Tessarian is a pretty big threat for this offense. Because if Tessarian dies, I'm not going to be able to kill them fast enough anymore because of the Purna healing. Either way, we did okay. Up next, Nana, Iris, Purna. I've talked about Iris on defense before. I'm going to bring in a Lucia. I'm going to put it to sleep, and it's not going to do anything. I have a Windy to tank a Purna. That's going to be just fine. I did change my Windy artifact to a fire, like a heavy fire reduction artifact, like 22% or something, instead of his normal additional damage artifact, I think. Just because I knew I was going to be tanking this Purna for a while. So our plan here is, you know, sleep or freeze the... Well, why didn't I freeze the light thing there? I don't know. Well, maybe I knew I was going to lap it with speed buff. There we go. Easy. So yeah, control the Iris. Iris is easily controlled. She's never on violent. She's always on despair. So when I have a violent control monster against a despair monster, like, I'm going to get more turns than her, and I'm going to keep her controlled, right? That's kind of how Elucia versus Iris works. So we can kind of leisurely kill his Nana twice, and now we can move over to the Purna. Again, like, I'm not a huge fan of this defense, because it's like so weak to this specific offense that I have here, where I can just kind of tank it forever and not really worry too much about the RNG either, because I can keep his Iris slept. So not my favorite version of Nana defense. Like I said, never been much a fan of Iris anyway. Would love to see an Iris defense that I actually have a lot of trouble with, because then I would build it, because I have two Irises. Maybe if I pull a Sylvia, then I'll get an Iris defense. See. We will see. What's next? Twins. Oh, it's Pate again. So, same person I hit last time with twins. I figure it worked last time, it's probably gonna work this time, so I'll just do the same thing again. His Martina seems kind of squishy to me, so I'm guessing this is more built as like more of a damage build to kill some of the, like, maybe double water light tank offense types. Either way, it did not kill me fast enough. So I get through his Martina again pretty quickly, and now it's just a matter of time. Going through Triana first, just because I think that's overall better, but truth is, if you have all three monsters still alive and healthy after you kill the Martina, then you've won the fight no matter what you decide to do. Up next, we have a Molong Gianna. So I see Gianna, I start thinking about the Water Mermaid here. I've got Tessarion, my favorite Mo-Long tank in the world. And then I told my guildies that I would just Tessarion Blue Mermaid this defense. And they were like, what's the third monster? And I'm like, I don't know, like any monster in the game that you want. So I figured Elucia is a good fit because that brings extra healing and cleanse for when we need that. It brings extra control. And because my Elucia is on some additional damage, it's a bit of extra, chip damage as well. So it seems like well, maybe mine's not on additional damage. Did I change her artifact? Okay, I lied. If she's hitting for 600, she's not an additional damage. I might have like what artifact? I have to go look at what artifact I have on her now. That's embarrassing. My Tessarion almost died there because I was greedy. There was a bomb on him that I chose not to cleanse, and then he violent procced into the detonation. So we almost lost Tessarion. At that point, I don't think it mattered. My Elucia Mermaid would have cleaned up the Mo-Long Gianna anyway, because they didn't have any healing. Here we're fighting the third guild in our siege, SG Kaki. At this point, we were doing very well in our 1v1 against Mythril. I think we were up by about 30 attacks over them, so we decided to take a couple of the third guild's towers just to accelerate our point gain for a short time. So this is my only attack that you'll see that I did that is not on a Mythril defense. This is the old Hertate Vigor Triana defense. I don't use my MST that often on siege offense. The runes aren't great on it, but I've always liked it against this particular defense because you can just bring your Fran to tank whatever the Hertate's doing on turn 1. You can give your twins an attack buff, and you can just pound right through the Hertate, and then at that point the defense doesn't have much threat anymore. That's always been my counter to the standard Hertate defense. For my last one against back onto Mythril, I do have a Tiana now. I have this Cleave team. They call me Cleaver Mans these days. So we'll go ahead and do something here that goes pretty quickly. We land everything except for a defense break on the Lima, and we clean up the team quite well. Still not sure how I feel about that Cleave. I always feel like something's going to go horribly wrong. I'm not a very comfortable Cleave player, but it worked this time. So 10 wins, 9 of them against Mythril. It was a fun siege, and I will see you, YouTube, in the next one. Bye.